Hello and welcome to the Avrum Rosensweig Show.
Welcome to one of the internet's best podcasts, where we dive deep into the lives of the extraordinary and fascinating people who leave an indelible mark on our world. Join us as we explore their captivating stories, remarkable achievements, and unique perspectives that shape history and inspire generations. Get ready to embark on a journey through the lives of inspiring people unlike any other.
Hello, folks, and welcome to the show. My name is Avrum Rosensweig, and I'm delighted to be here. And the series that we're doing today is called Parsha and Prose. Welcome to it. If you have not been part of it before, and my colleague, my friend, whom I do it with, is Rabbi Shlomo Gemara. How are you, Rabbi?
Baruch Hashem, thank you very much. You see the change of the scenery. I'm actually sitting in a mamad now, not because there are any missiles outside, but I'm visiting Israel right now. And my son-in-law was very generous by giving me the mamad. Usually two of his kids are sleeping here. So this is nighttime, and I confiscated the place for our podcast.
I have to tell you something. It's much different than one would think about what a mamad would be. A mamad it's a bomb shelter, right?
Right.
And it's a beautiful library there.
Books everywhere. And the apartment in Israel are small. My daughter have 6 kids, and you have to use every empty space in order to put the kids in and to put your books. You see, my son-in-law is a real scholar, and the mamad became a place that people are going into when there are missiles, and there were even since I came. But it's also like a place where kids are sleeping, and my son-in-law is working just behind. And mamad is a very useful room, multi-sources room.
Rabbi, I'm wondering about the Jewish library. Many questions to ask you, you being in Israel. I'm so delighted that you had the chance to do this. So thank you so much for finding time.
Sure, my pleasure.
Oh, I missed you. We didn't do it last week. I find with a Jewish library that when you look at it from afar, essentially the colors and the sets and the books are standardized. You have like the Mishnah Berurah, you have the Gemara, you have the Rambam. Am I correct that in a library of a frum person, that many of the sets are the same?
Quite the same. Actually, in Israel, you know who is a printer by the way the books are bound, and you can see this is Baruch Man, this is this guy, this is this guy, but they are quite the same. If you don't know exactly where everything is, what you think is a Chumash is actually a Rambam. What you think is a Rambam is actually like Yerushalmi. They are all the same. The content is different though.
I got you. So you were mentioning before that you are in Israel. You had a short jump over to Italy, which I know you love so much. But you said that there were some missiles that were coming over while you were there. Tell me what was that like for you?
So first of all, it started in the following way. We booked our flight a few months ago. It's not me, but my wife liked to be mesuderet, and she booked the flights on time. In about a month ago, they already canceled the leg from Rome to Tel Aviv, but they didn't cancel Tel Aviv to Rome. So we could not cancel the entire thing and to try to get a flight otherwise with another company. But a day before we took our flight, they canceled also Tel Aviv Rome. So at this situation, we could get a refund and to rebook our flight. And we found one to go to Rome with another company, and with Elal to go back and forth to Israel and from Israel when we are going back after Tisha B'Av. So the whole trip started like under the situation, as they call it here in Israel, b'matzav. So this was the beginning one. In Italy, let me tell you, the most startling experience was in the hotel where we spent the night because we didn't want to take the chance of connecting flight that might miss each other. So we decided to spend one day at Rome and to take the flight the next day. In front of our hotel, a huge flag of the PLO, the black and white and green and the triangle, the red triangle. You know what? It's a bad feeling, to be honest with you. That's not what I expected, but we have to know. Too many people don't like us. And this was a reminder far away from Israel that there are people who don't like Israel. And it became like a symbol of fight, not only against Israel, but against Jews, because this is in the outskirts of Rome. It's not like in, here or Jordan or Egypt. It's Italy. But once you get into Israel, you really feel at home. It's quite amazing. Maybe we can talk about it later. But as we talked, around the Shabbat table with my daughter, with another son-in-law in Modi'in, sirens all over. You saw that everything is fine. No. So the Houthis decided to send a missile to Israel. I had to wake up my wife, the kids, to go to the mamad and to be there. So being in Israel, we are not out of the woods, to be honest. This morning, not by us, we didn't hear anything, but my parents told me at 6 o'clock in the morning, they had the sirens go off. And there is still a feeling that things are not finished yet. At the same time, I must tell you, Avrum, you would enjoy it. Going outside, Toronto at 8 p.m. is like a dead city. You have to come here to Israel. It's just unbelievable, especially in the Frum areas. If it's Yerushalayim, if it's here at Elat, people are walking. People are all over. Restaurants are packed with people. You would expect, like a country like this, that people will try to run away. On the contrary, the cities, Tel Aviv, Yerushalayim, are vibrant. It doesn't make any difference. And if there is a siren, people know exactly what to do. So this contrast is just unbelievable.
Do you feel different there, Rabbi?
Well, listen, after almost 30 years in Canada, you can compare cultures, and not everything is exactly the way I live my life in Canada. But at the same time, it's also fun. I must say that. Like, you get the minyan whenever you want. People, everyone is Jewish, and
Yes, they are.
it's very good. It's lots of fun. At the same time, sometimes like the culture is different from like the Canadian, the polite, the way people drive here is sometimes like, whoa. I think that after every driving, I have to bench a goimel, which is a bracha for like, a miracle happened to you. You are still alive. People are cutting from here, from there. People talk about the driving in New York. Let me tell you, driving in New York is a mechaye. It's like paradise compared to some places here. It's just unbelievable.
Tell me something. How are your parents?
Baruch Hashem. But we all get older, and as you get older, sometimes things are not as it used to be. But I'm very happy to be with them. So, they are not in their best. I remember both of them in better times, but Baruch Hashem, they can talk to me. They can tell a joke, but you can see that, age is a factor in our life.
When you're with your parents, I know they're in their 90s. Do you kind of revert back to feeling like a son, like a younger person, a boy, sort of,
Absolutely, yes. I think that we all we always stay the children of our parents.
Yeah.
I can see it with my own children. Um, eh, Although they mature, some of them like achieve much more than I achieved in my life. But they are our children. We are happy when they are happy. We are sad when they are sad. And the same is between me and my parents. I always come home and I don't feel much different than the time that I came back from the yeshiva and I was 16 years old, 17 years old. And my parents care how I'm doing, how things are. So now, Baruch Hashem, they care not only about me, but about the grandchildren, the great grandchildren. Baruch Hashem, you have to enjoy life in whatever stage you are in, and sometimes it takes some time to learn it and to appreciate sometimes when you are a parent. How was it when your parents were when you are in the same age? I try to reflect on the time that my parents were over 60. And it's interesting. It's interesting to see and to appreciate backwards things that at the time sometimes we did not appreciate.
Do you eat well when you're in Israel? Are you a lover of food?
Okay, so first of all, I have to tell you the restaurant Avrum are just unbelievable. When we go outside with our kids to restaurants, and we try to eat like homey food, and Baruch Hashem, all my daughter-in-law and my daughters are excellent cook. My daughter Rachel is like a chef, honestly. Like I don't know why she chose to be a nurse. She could open like a nurse restaurant. But the restaurants also, some of them are really the highest level. And unbelievable food, the creativity. We just on Friday morning, my daughter schlepped us to a place not far away from Yerushalayim and take it for me as a recommendation. It's called Harim. It's about 15 minutes drive from Yerushalayim. And it was the drive. The food is not very cheap, but it worth every penny because this is unique and you will not eat this way anywhere else in the world. And Avrum, it's time to tell our listener that we don't take advertisement. So I say it from the bottom of my heart. I don't try to promote any business. But if you are going to Israel, try to be in Harim, in Kiryat Anavim, which is not far away from Yerushalayim. This is, the NBA league. It's like beyond, and it's dairy. And this was just fantastic. And again, Avrum, we had to wait in line. Friday morning, okay? We had to wait in line about 20 minutes. The parking was packed. We had to wait until one pulled out and we could drive. And this is, as I say, like a country in war. Just unbelievable.
What did you order?
First of all, I don't make the order. So what did we order? Like excellent salad, like a wonderful cake, kind of sandwich that I never ate. Like even the bread was just outstanding. And it was great. And you sit like you hear the name of the Misadai Harim mountain. You are on the Judean hills under shadow of a tree, around you like another, as I say, dozens and dozens of families, and you feel at home. It's just beautiful.
Rabbi Gemara, there's a concept in the Talmud called Avira De'ara, which is Aramaic, right? It's sort of the air of the land, and the Rambam speaks about a mitzvah in Israel it's a greater schut, that when you do a mitzvah, God likes that even more when it's done in Israel. When you come to Israel, Rabbi, do you feel that Avira De'ara?
To me, as a Kohen, it's very, very easy because one of the major differences for me is that in Eretz Israel, there is the Kohanim blessing every single day, right? So to me, that's by itself like a lot because
Yes.
in Canada or elsewhere, you don't do the Birkat Kohanim every day. And just, the opportunity to go and to bench Am Israel, this I feel is very inspiring moment for me every single day. So for me, it's easy to see the difference between. But listen, where we stay by my daughter, not far away, there is a place called the Shteibelech. Yeah, you have to visit it because this is like an industry. If you just saw like a very packed restaurant, lehavdil, people come, people go, people come, people go, and always someone is serving and serving. You have like in a small building that someone donated to the neighborhood and wanted it to be a place for davening. You have about 5 rooms, each one of them packed unbelievably, and minyanim from 5 a.m. to 2 a.m. I'm not exaggerating. I think the last minyan is 1:30 a.m. Okay, if you missed Myri, and 3 hours later, boom, the day start again. This is something that is something to see. It's just unbelievable. And this talking about Rechavia. I'm not talking about the Kotel. I'm not talking about,
I know.
yeah.
Rabbi, I know that you're a very effusive, warm fellow, and you love nothing more than walking on the street from, let's say, on Shabbat, from your house to shul, and you say good Shabbos to people and so on. Does that come back to you in Israel? Are people warm? Do they ask you who you are?
Very few, actually. People are very busy. Avrum, I have to tell you that what I realize, people are very, very busy, and for very good reasons. So, for example, you go to the shteibelech, the young people sometimes, it's a sight, I had to take some pictures. It's unbelievable. Soldiers coming with their little children. Sometimes maybe they want to allow their wives to go and make some shopping, though they bring little children to the shul. A gun, a full gun, like with all the material, the special equipment. You can see that they serve in a special unit. Because some of them come with grenade thrower, some of them with sniper equipment. And they come to shul, they want to grab like davening with their kids, 2 little children, and they have to come to go. They don't have enough time like to talk to you too much. But the older people, and by the way, these are the people my age, I guess, they actually ask me like, who you are, where are you from? And for some reason, they know apparently that I'm coming from America. Don't ask me why, because I don't know what is American about me. And it's always a pleasure, to talk, because who are the people who can afford buying a house in Rechavia? Usually it's Americans. It's not so many Israelis, unless they come from other neighborhoods, because they know that they always will find a minyan there. And actually, one of them told me a good joke. They said, when you can hear Hebrew here in this shul? I said, when? So he said, when Oleh Hadash from America is talking to Oleh Hadash from France. So the only way they can communicate is in Hebrew. Then you hear Hebrew, because in all other cases, the French guy will talk French to his friend, and the American will talk English with his friend. But when both of them are like meeting, the French guy and the American, they will talk in Hebrew.
Yeah, I
which
got
is
that.
something to think about. Yeah.
Is your Hebrew impeccable?
I would say I have a very good Hebrew, and which served me until this very day. Because to be honest with you, many of my writing until this very day, I write first in Hebrew, which is I think pretty good. And then I would allow Google, and today, Baruch Hashem, Hashem gave us the bracha of the AI, if you heard about it.
Amen.
So
Chazak
it
u'baruch.
helps me to polish it, because my grammar, people can hear, and other things are not perfect. But AI is great in this regard. But again, I don't want to lose my own expression. So I write it in Hebrew and try to translate it with keeping the juice inside, the Hebrew inside.
Rabbi, I want us to dive into Parsha and Prose. I know that you're driving back to Yerushalayim this evening, and we want to make sure that you get some light. But before we do that, I would like to dedicate this show to a member of the Tzava who was killed in Gaza, Staff Sergeant Amit Cohen, 19 of the Golani Brigade's 13th Battalion from Holon. So far, 455 were killed in Gaza in military operations. They should all rest in peace. And now that you're in Israel, what is the sense that you get around the table on Shabbat when you're in shul about the war in Gaza, about the war with Iran? Is it palpable? Do people talk about it, or do they put it away and just move on?
Both, I would say. They are not obsessed with it, to be honest with you. Everything turned to kind of joke about Iran, about this, about that. That's, to me, is unbelievable. How people sometimes just dismiss the situation. Okay, okay, they threw some bombs, we go on. Nothing really happened, which is quite amazing, I must say. But again, if I visit a shul, every shul, it can be a very Haredi, a very modern. I was in Modin, which is more modern. I was in Yerushalayim there, which is more Haredi. They say Tehillim for the soldier, and then they mention it, and they talk about the Chatufim, and there are special tefillot written for the Chatufim in Gaza. So you cannot say that you don't hear it. And also, if you just drive the streets, especially the main streets of Yerushalayim, there are banners all over, reminding everyone that the Chatufim are still there. You have to bring them home. Now you can see it everywhere. But the amazing thing, it's like in the awareness, but it does not, I would say, like block and shut your life. Like life goes on. That's the most amazing thing. So awareness, yes. My son lives on the street, Aza Street, not in Gaza, but on Aza Street. His neighbor, very famous guy, his name is Bibi Netanyahu. So Motzei Shabbat, when we came to visit them, there was Hafgana, there was a demonstration, a very colorful one, by the way. So you do feel the things that are going on, but not to the point where Israel like is standing and debilitated in terms of the day-to-day life, which to me is the Jewish resilience, absolutely.
By the way, when I was in yeshiva in 1978 in Sanhedria, Beit Talmud, and I remember that Menachem Begin on Shabbat, he would live in the prime minister's house. I think, like you're saying, on Gaza, right? He would open his house for people to come visit him, and you would see him walking on Shabbat. It was very interesting.
Well,
I don't know if they do that anymore. Probably not.
I don't think so.
No, it would be too dangerous now. All right, folks, let me introduce to you the parshiot. It's Matot Masei. The Torah portion, Matot and Masei, found in Numbers 32 to 36:13, are often read together, and they conclude the book of Numbers, which is exciting, Bamidbar. These portions address critical themes of leadership, responsibility, and the Bnei Yisrael preparation to enter Eretz Yisrael, the Promised Land. Matot begins with laws concerning vows and oaths, emphasizing the importance of keeping one's word, particularly for leaders and individuals in the community. It then details the war against Midian, highlighting issues of justice, retribution, and purification. The portion also covers the allocation of land east of the Jordan River to the tribes of Reuven, Gad, and half of Manasseh, underscoring negotiations and commitments to the collective mission of conquering Canaan. Masei, which means journeys, by the way, Matot means tribes, recounts the Israelites' 42 encampments during their 40 years in the wilderness, serving as a reflective summary of their journey from Mitzrayim, from Egypt. It outlines the boundaries of the Promised Land, instructions for its division among the tribes, and the establishment of cities of refuge for those who unintentionally cause death. The portion concludes with laws regarding inheritance, particularly the case of Slavcha's daughters, reinforcing themes of justice and equity in land distribution. Together, Matot Masei weaves the theme of accountability, communal unity, and the transition from wandering to settlement. They highlight the importance of integrity in vows, the challenge of leadership, and the divine guidance that shapes the Israelites' path towards their covenantal destiny. Rabbi, the thing that has always perturbed me, I want to start with the question of the 2.5 tribes who said to Moses, "We want to settle east of the Jordan, which means outside of Israel." I remember the first time that I learned that, like really learned it. There's learning and there's learning. That when I started to actually see and feel and understand more so what was going on in the Torah, not just reading it, I thought to myself, are you kidding me? Really? There's 2.5 tribes that do not want to settle in Israel after this whole trek from Mitzrayim, 42 stops along the way over a 40-year period. To this day, I can't figure out. I've read the Rashi on it, I've read the Rambam on it, but I can't figure out what were they thinking?
That's an excellent question. And first of all, I want to correct one thing. It's actually only 2 Shvatim, only 2 tribes who came to Moshe Rabbeinu to ask for the other side of the Jordan. Maybe in a second we will talk about the half tribe of Menashe, which is actually an invention of Moshe. They never came to ask this part of the Jordan, the other part of the Jordan.
Good point.
But the 2 tribes is indeed a very strange phenomenon, and the truth is that Moshe Rabbeinu, not only you said, "Are you kidding me?" but Moshe Rabbeinu himself said, "Are you kidding me? Like, we did all the journey from Egypt to here, and then you don't even want to enter the land of Israel." And the answer, I believe, is that sometimes reality is stronger than anything else. The Torah is telling us that these 2 tribes excelled in the huge animal they had, the herds of the flock of sheep and goats. And in reality, you go to Israel for years of war, you cannot really grow your animals, which was the basis for their wealth. And until this very day, sometimes you have to make a decision. Many people want to be in Israel at the same time. They cannot accumulate wealth over there, and they stayed behind. But you have to remember, at the time, we are not talking about Canada and Israel. We are not talking even about France and Israel. We are talking about bordering areas of Israel that they actually fought for, took over from the nations that were around Israel. There was some logic in it to protect their brothers who are going to be in Israel. They are not going to have an eastern front, and they will be able easily to go from there to visit their brothers and sisters. And we know that because you have today beautiful communities in Ramat HaGolan. My last visit in Israel, I went to a beautiful place by the name Natur. It's in Ramat HaGolan. And at the end of the day, you just go down the hills of the Golan Heights and you are in Tzfat, you are in Kiryat Shmone, you are in Tiberia. So we are not talking about like coming to visit once in a while. They will be in touch with their brothers and sisters even after they are going to settle for as I said, for the reason of having their sheep, excessive sheep, in the fertile area of Ramat HaGolan. And by the way, the interesting thing, it's beautiful to see, if you go to Ramat HaGolan today, sometimes you have to drive very carefully. Here in Canada, many times you can see like the signs of deers on the roads. In Ramat HaGolan, they have a very similar triangles, warning signs that a cow might just cross the road. You have to be very careful. They have thousands upon thousands of cows which are roaming all over Ramat HaGolan. They are not in sheds for cows, but they are like almost wild, like you see sometimes in Switzerland, on the mountain. And at a certain point, you have these cowboys who comes and collect them, and they are turning to wonderful steaks. So the place is good for shepherd. The place is good for animals until this very day. And here comes one more thing, and this is indeed the mystery of the half split shevet of Menashe. And as I said, Moshe Rabbeinu actually forced them, half the shevet, to be on the other side of the Jordan, actually what is Ramat HaGolan today. And the other one will inherit their part in the area of Shechem. Why Moshe Rabbeinu did it? Exactly for this reason. Because you have families on the two sides, they are going to visit each other. They belong to the same tribe. The people of Menashe loved the land of Israel, as you can see with the story of Not Zlofad, who also came from the Shevet of Menashe. They really had a very deep love, and they got it already from their father Joseph, who wanted and insisted and made his brother taking the oath that they will bring him from Egypt to Israel to be buried in Israel. So this tribe excelled in their love to the land of Israel. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, I don't know about Gad and Reuben. I'm not very impressed with their attachment to their property and animals. I have to make sure that they never forget their brother on the other side. So he took the Shevet of Menashe and put half here and half there to make sure that there is a connection between the two parts of the Jordan. And I say, they were the first shlichim. I'm sure that everyone from our listeners heard about the shlichim who are coming from Eretz Israel to remote communities or not so remote like the Toronto. I was one of them. They are kind of the descendants of Menashe. They bring the love of Eretz Israel to the communities which are not completely attached to Israel, and they were very successful over the year. I know many people who made Aliyah, and I meet many of them in Israel. They attribute a lot of their decision to shlichim that were their teachers, the rabbis, and had a huge influence of them in terms of Israel. And I think Moshe Rabbeinu was the first one to see the potential here of sending people over there in order to make sure that they are still connected to Eretz Israel.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Fascinating. What was it nice being a shaliach, an emissary from Israel?
It was wonderful. It was
Yeah.
wonderful. And, actually, you asked me about the restaurant. The first evening we spent with good friends, the Lichtenberg family. They were shlichim in Or Chaim. We had wonderful time together. And the most amazing thing is that the people who came to Canada, I don't know if it's because the English, it's because they saw a different culture. Everyone who served as a teacher in Israel, when they returned to Israel, they became principals, excellent principals in all kinds of schools. They built schools. They bring something from Canada back to Israel, and they brought something very, very important from Israel to Canada and to other communities.
Do the communities hold shlichim in high esteem? Are they very, very respectful to them?
I can talk about Toronto. I know that all our shlichim got a beautiful welcome. In our shul there is a family of shlichim that are returning, and he delivered a beautiful message thanking the community for hosting them so beautifully. I think Toronto, especially Toronto, I don't know about other communities, but I have a feeling that it's quite the same. They appreciate the shlichim. Now, I have to tell you one thing which is very, very important. To be a shaliach, usually the first year or sometimes even the two, is just like to land into a different culture, which is not so easy. And I know that in chat, for example, we try to support the shlichim for quite a long time, because sometimes the way you teach in Israel is not the way you teach here in Canada. The way you talk to parents. Let me tell you, if they talk to parents in Canada the way they talk to parents in Israel, they will not last for too long. Things like this, you have to learn the cultural difference. But I can tell you from students, we had a wonderful family in Chad this year, the Meyerman family. And you know what? I speak to students of other teachers just to find out how classes are running, and they really appreciate their growth in Hebrew, their growth in understanding better the Hebrew culture, the Israeli culture. So I think it's a very, very important thing. And let me tell you, as we talk about it, today it's much harder to get shlichim for Toronto. When we came to Toronto to rent a house was something around, I would say, 1,100 Canadian dollars. Now think about today, you cannot rent anything for, like, if a family is coming, for less than $4,000 or $5,000. You might be even lucky. So all the saving that people used to have like 20 years ago disappeared now. I would love if the community can arrange like a shlichim house, a center for shlichim that will save them this money, and they will be able. We Toronto, Toronto. I'm talking about all the Jewish day school in Toronto who need shlichim. It would be much easier to attract shlichim.
Rabbi, before
now, shlichim, they make the cheshbon sometimes if it's kedai to come or not, and this is a huge issue.
Rabbi, before I ask you the next question about the Parsha, just for a moment, for a light moment, how do teachers speak to parents in Israel? I'm curious. Like, how is it different?
It depends, but in Israel there is a very important word. It's called dugri.
Yeah, dugri. Yeah.
Means in your face. I have no problem to talk to you, and a teacher have no problem to come to a parent who is a helicopter parent or ask too many questions and to end the discussion and say, listen, אני לא יכול לעשות שום דבר עם הבן הטיפש שלך. I cannot do anything like anymore, and that's it. End of discussion. אתה הבן שלי טיפש, It's like, things like this sometimes. I'm not saying that everyone, but
no, not everyone.
But you can hear sometimes, like it going to high tones, and in Canada it's much more like, instead of saying like, listen, your son is not coming to any class, he doesn't listen, he just care about his social network. In Canada you say like, I think if he would spend more time on his learning, he will be able to fulfill his potential. And it sounds great, like you talk about the potential, about the ability to fulfill. In Israel, they don't have time for this. Like, they cut all the garbage. They say right in the face, like, your son is lazy, like this, like that. So it takes some time to understand the different culture. And yeah.
Is Dugri Arabic?
Dugri, I believe, is Arabic, or like Yalla is Turkish, which is slightly different. But many words in Turkish made their way into Arabic and Hebrew because the Turks were in Israel. And, certain words became part of the jargon, part of the colloquial style of talking. And I think Dugri is one of them.
Do you speak Arabic at all?
I understand few words. Unfortunately, I don't. I always wanted to learn a little bit more, especially now. I think, number one, people have to remember, Arabic is one of the official languages in Israel. And it's quite a shame that many Israelis don't know anything about Arabic, which is a beautiful, beautiful language. It's a Semitic language. You have actually in Arabic, you have the literature style of Arabic and the way people talk every day. And I always wanted to learn Arabic, and I believe that in a certain way, I learn a little bit. I can hear a little people talking on TV. I can recognize certain words, but unfortunately I don't know Arabic. And maybe one day when I will be younger, I will learn Arabic.
Mirz Hashem. Rabbi, it's very interesting. Matot Masei, it's a combined, generally those two parshiot are read together. And Matos begins with the discussion about vows. Now, you and I have had discussion in the past about vows. It's an extraordinarily important thing in our religion. As an example, on Kol Nidre night, we're standing up there. We're all in awe. We're dressed in white, or however we come to shul. And what do we talk about? We talk about the vows that we made, right?
Right.
And there's a Gemara about vows. I mean, it's an extensive conversation. It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. And here, a parsha, the second to last parsha in Bamidbar, starts with a discussion around vows. What is the importance of that discussion?
Okay, so we have to remember we are standing in front of the end of the journey from Egypt going to
Yeah,
Israel,
yeah,
and most likely without a king, the government of the Jewish people is going to be given to the leaders of the tribes. I think the first plan when crossing the Jordan, Moshe Rabbeinu is not there to unify the nation, was to give every tribe a kind of autonomy. They are going to get their part in Israel. Yes, there will be some federal issues like the war, but the way each tribe is handled is going to be by Rashi Matot, by the leaders of each tribe. And in this regard, Avrum, I want to tell you that it's not very different from what is happening until this very day in the Middle East. You just have to see what is happening in Syria. You have like the tribe of the Druze, you have the tribes of the Alawites, you have the tribes of the Bedouin, and each one has its own interest, their own culture. They sometimes know how to live with each other, sometimes they fight to death each other, as it happened right now in Syria. And in the Middle East, you have to be a Middle Eastern, and the Jewish people were supposed to be, the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Reuven, and the tribe of Shimon. Each tribe had his own governance and all their own leadership. This was the way it's supposed to be. And now, once you are in the government, you know that sometimes, I'm not saying in Canada, Chas v'shalom, but politicians are making many promises. You heard about it.
yeah.
And
I'm
sometimes
familiar.
they don't stand their promises.
No,
And before, yeah, you know,
yeah,
Levi Eshkol was one prime minister in Israel, actually in the time of Milchemet Sheshet Hayamim. He was
yeah,
a very non-charismatic person.
yeah.
But sometimes Hashem gives the uncharismatic people lots of power, and actually, the 6 Day War turned to be one of the greatest moments of Israel. And who was the leader? It was Levi Eshkol.
Maybe Ashko.
Levi Eshkol once did something, and the people came to him and said, "Mr. Eshkol, you before the election you promised this and this and this, and now you break every promise." And he said, "Yeah. I promised, but I did not promise to fulfill my promises." So, so the Torah knew it's not unique to Levi Eshkol. They make promises, and the Torah want to say, especially for the leaders, a promise is like you give someone a check. You are liable. You have to do what you promised, and if you cannot do it, or if you think or you doubt your ability to do it, don't promise. Just don't promise. Promise is something holy. And in the world around us, if it's a business world or if it's like the relationship between me and you, a word that was given is holy, is something that make us a special relationship. And I have to honor my commitment, my promises. And before they cross the Jordan, when each one is going to be responsible for his tribe, Moshe Rabbeinu is warning the elders to respect their promises, because it's very easy. I just imagine. Think about the heads of the tribes, okay, and they are going to have a very serious mission. They are going to partition the land and to give certain family and certain people this kind of land and this kind of land. You don't have to tell me, I'm sure that it happened, that every day people came to them, why he got more than I am, and I want this piece of land, I want this side of the hill, and so on and so on. And for a leader, sometimes in a situation like this, he can promise to this one the same land that he promised another one, just to get rid of the pressure of people. And the Torah says, no, leadership means stand your promises. If you say to someone that he will get this part of the land, you have to do it, because otherwise there will be such a balagan and such a chaos that the whole endeavor of partition the land and give the right land to the certain family is going to turn crazy. So I believe that this was the reason why Moshe Rabbeinu highlighted the idea of promises just before he, going to get off the stage, and he knows what is going to happen when they are going to cross the land. So promises and commitments have to be taken very seriously.
Rabbi, just a side point. I know that the prime ministers of Israel have, probably all of them, I think, have chosen their name, a Hebrew name, right?
Yeah.
Levi Eshkol chose the name Eshkol, and Eshkol means...
Right. I think it was Shkolnik before, and Eshkol is actually like Eshkol Anavim, from the Parsha of the Meraglim. It's a cluster of grapes.
Yeah, do you have any idea how they chose their names?
Shkolnik and Eshkol, you can hear the vocal similarity. Ben Gurion was before green, right? And Ben Gurion is historical figure, very important person in Jerusalem. So I believe that from the son of Green, his father, he became Ben Gurion.
Ben Gurion.
Who else? Netanyahu, his father, already changed his name from... the grandfather was named Natan Milikovsky. So after Natan, they called themselves Netanyahu. Who else was the prime minister? Moshe Sharet was Shertok. So Shertok turned to cut a little bit, and from Shertok it was Sharet. Golda Meir was Meirson, and she changed it to Meir. The truth is that Ben Gurion, I don't know if you knew that, he required every commander after I believe, lieutenant general, he said, you represent the Jewish people, you represent the newborn country, you have to change your name to Hebrew. And you can see that most of the high commanders, they changed their names to Hebrew names. This was for about 20 years the order. You had, if you wanted to be promoted in your ranks, you had to change it to Hebrew name. And therefore you have Yigal Yadin and Dori. They all had Polish names before they became the chief of staff, but Ben Gurion forced them to change their name. You hear all the Tayasim, Ilan Ramon, he was someone completely different, and they changed, especially the pilot, they changed their name to Hebrew names. I think it changed a little bit 25 years ago, and it's an interesting story. I cannot remember. I think it was a person by the name Kaplinsky, who was killed in the Second Lebanon War, who said he was asked to change his name as it used to be, and he said, I'm not going to change my name because I carry the name of my grandparents who were perished in Auschwitz, my father, and other respect to my father who carried this name, I'm not going to change his name. And he was the first one to break the rule, although until this very day, many commanders, you can hear the Hebrew names, they changed their names. Ehud Barak was before that and many others, quite the same. But it's changing. Some people now keep their old names, and out of respect actually to their ancestors, which I think is by itself a very important statement.
You're so lucky. You have such a wonderful name to begin with. Even if you wrote
many people ask me where it comes from, and they don't believe that it's already many years. Gemara is many years name, and and Gemara itself is actually an Aramaic word. It's learning,
Yeah. It's a terrific name. Rabbi, a very interesting narrative occurs in Parsha Masei, and it begins with the 42 encampments that the Bnei Yisrael had while they were in the desert, 14 of which were before the mission of the spies, and the last 8 encampments were in the 40th year of Aaron's death. Thus, during the 38 intervening years, there were only 20 journeys. But my question to you is, when I studied it, when I learned it, it was very fascinating from a geographical point of view, looking, thinking about the map, thinking about the journey that they were on. And then there were some times where it would actually mention what happened in that particular place, right? But from a Torah point of view, being as economic as the Torah is with its words, why go through that map? Why go through the 42 places where they encamped? What do we take away from that?
I would say this is one of the most beautiful instructions for life. You have to reflect. You have to reflect on your own journey. If you are an individual, as a family, as a community, as a nation, because we tend to see the future and to forget how much we are connected to our past and to learn from our mistakes of the past, which is basically the reason why the Torah mentioned the different places, just to remind the Jewish people that, each one bore a certain stage of development as a nation. And if we would do it as a nation, I see today, especially the young generation, they think that Israel was born in the 77 years of its establishment, because they don't see many times, like, we are people who came from the Holocaust, people who came from the Arab countries after years and years that they took upon themselves to keep the Jewish flame, like they sacrificed every person in Israel, even the people who deny now their Jewishness, and unfortunately we have people like this, or they don't see that the most important part of their life. They don't reflect on the past. And the Torah is telling us we are in a constant journey, and we have to realize what went well and what we were wrong. Because if we want to be successful, we have to learn from our journey. And I think especially before they cross the Jordan, which is supposed to happen in a few weeks, it was very, very important to see the entire journey, leaving Egypt, escaping Paro, crossing the sea, crisis after crisis, and nevertheless, they are still a nation waiting to cross the Jordan to the promised land. So, to me, the Parsha of Masei, the Parsha of reflection, that supposed to be reflection for every one of us, a demand. It said, Veshinantam bam. You have always to repeat the bam. And one beautiful perush is bam. The numerical value is bet and mem, which is 42, which are the 42 journeys. So the Torah instruct you, Veshinanta bam. You always have to repeat and to remember the 42 stations, so to speak, of your life. What went well? What went wrong? How you can improve for the rest of your life? So to me, it's a very relevant parsha. The need for reflection.
You're talking about gematria, the numbers. I believe that the name of God, the long name of God, has 42 letters in it.
Oh, very good.
So what's Rabbi, what's very interesting is there are certain Balkores, and I checked in with my brother-in-law, Meir Tenenbaum, who's a Balkore, who stop after the first 10, right? They do, because that's Shani. But then there are others who go the whole way right up to the 42nd one, because they don't want to break up the name of God. Manya, no?
Never knew that. That's something new. I learned something, Avrum. This is
Baruch
beautiful.
Hashem.
And there is a very beautiful way to read it. You change a little bit and you make it like a song,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
which is it's
Are
a
you a
beautiful
Balkore?
way.
Are you a Balkore?
I used to be about Korea when I was younger. And here is a very good advice to the young people who listen to our podcast. Try to learn as much as you can when you are younger. You know, when I was young, I think I covered the Torah a few times. Today, when I have to teach myself, like to remember a parsha, it take me the
Yeah.
5 times the time I used to prepare for a parsha. The brain, is not what it used to be.
I know. I
Um,
know. I was asked once to do laning for Mincha on Shabbos, which is a
uh,
little bit. It's not a bit. Oh, it took me so long to learn it. My God.
yeah, and I was very good at it. And you get older, and it doesn't stick to your brain the same way. So learn as much as you can when you are young.
Go look at what. By the way, very interesting thing too about the 42 mentioned names of the places where the Jewish people stopped. Not all of them are mentioned previously in the Torah. Not all of
Right,
them. Yeah,
right.
yeah. Rabbi, I don't know if you remember this. So Mordechai Richler, in one of his books, and I was trying to come up which one, he said that a man is not a man until he owns a piece of land. Right? It's kind of a Jewish
It's an
concept.
idea that repeats itself, and I think when you read John Steinbeck, and we spoke about a grape of wrath, this is the main idea. Like you are not a man if you have to leave your land, and you do every possible effort in order to be an owner of a land. Absolutely.
So with that in mind, tell me something. The Levites, and this is in Parsha Masei, the Levites were given cities for dwelling and open spaces for the cities all around them, right? What I was thinking about when I learned that, and I want to ask you this question: the tribes had their land, they were rooted, they were based, they had a place a terra firma, like we say,
Yeah.
right? But the Levites almost seem like Bedouins. Am I reading this properly or no?
I don't know if like Bedouins, but the Torah purposely did not give them a land. Like
Right,
the
right.
tribes have to give them the lands for living. And in Eretz Israel, there were 48 cities for the Levites, and they were well spread, so they could influence every tribe that they came into. But the Torah is teaching us here a very important lesson. You cannot have a land and to teach Torah to the people around you, because
Mhm, mhm,
if you have a land, you have to work it seriously. You have to work it seriously, and it takes your time and it takes your energies. And the Torah wants them to concentrate on one thing of teaching the Torah to the rest of the nation. The Levites were actually the teachers of the nation. Um, so they did not have a part in the land. They were getting, like the idea I said before, that maybe shlichim should get some housing by the community. It will make things easier. That's exactly the idea of the cities of the Levites. Like the
mhm.
tribes give them a place they can live. The Levites got certain gifts which enabled them to live modestly. No Levi could become rich because they had to focus on one thing, teaching the nation, which is incredible.
Is there anything you'd lose by being a Levite, by being the teacher? Is there anything you lose by being a teacher?
No question about it. Listen, I have friends that I'm sure doing 5 and 10 times more than I'm doing as a teacher in terms of parnasa. Um, you are bound many times to certain places. It's not that a lawyer can be in Duluth and can be in New York and can be in Washington. Yes, there are different laws, but basically, once you are in the business, you are in the business. Think about the teacher. I can tell you about Toronto. Sometimes the teacher has to move from Associated. He's not, sometimes he has to leave Associated. He will go to Chat. From Chat, he will go to another. like you are quite bound in terms of your mobility, to be honest about it. So you take upon yourself life of mission. This is being a teacher is life of mission, no questions about this one. And yes, you lose in terms of money, you lose in terms of mobility, no questions about it.
Rabbi, in conclusion, there is a piece in the Torah that we learned this week where God sets out the boundaries, the southern border, the western border, the northern border, and the eastern border of Israel. The southern border is from the wilderness of Zin along the side of Edom. The western border, it's the Great Sea, the Mediterranean Sea and its coast. The northern border from the Great Sea to Mount Hor, which is where Aaron died, and the eastern border from Hazar Enan to Shafam, etc., etc. It's interesting how God drew the boundaries of Israel. What do you think he was thinking when he did that?
It just gave them a land that could sustain them. And, a land in the middle of the Middle East, a land that can be fertile on one hand, at the same time open in the Judean desert, the Negev areas, which are much harder to inhabit. And really, like, you think about the mountains of the Galilee and Haifa and even southern Lebanon, supposed to be the part of the tribe of Zebulun and Issachar. So this is a special land that can really provide sustenance to the people who are there. And at the same time, they always have to trust God, because you can have in Israel like years with no rain. You have most of the year actually no rain. The rain in Israel is limited to 3-4 months maximum. So the farmer, the person who depends on water, you always have to know that it's all about like God providing you the food. And part of the journey that they did on the desert was exactly to teach them that, like God kept you in the desert, a place that normally no person can live in. Israel can be this kind of place, place that, today we know Israel after the Jews arrived and inhabited the land and improved the land. But it was not the case like this all the time. It was a place that is hard to settle. Not only 150 years ago with the malaria and the swamps, but always it was a difficult land, again, depending on rain and not so much on lakes like we have in Canada. So there was, I would say, relationship between the people in Israel and God on a constant basis.
Very good, very good. We started off our conversation today about the Avira Diara, and when I was learning about the boundaries of Israel, I thought within those boundaries, every inch of that land is holy, right? Every inch of it. I want to conclude with a poem from AI, and it's called "A Journey Bound by Word and Land." In Mato's verses, vows take flight, words as sacred as the desert night. A promise sworn, a leader's creed, integrity shapes each spoken deed. From Midian's war, a justice sought, retribution faced with lessons taught. Reuven, Gad, and Menashe's band claim lands east of Jordan's strand. Yet unity binds their tribal quest. To conquer Canaan, they pledged their best. Masei unfolds the wandering years, 42 stops through trials and tears. From Egypt's chain to freedom's call, each camp a step, though some may fall. The promised land, its borders drawn, a covenant sealed from dusk to dawn. Cities of refuge, a haven's grace, for Aaron's soul to find their place. Slavchad's daughter, bold and just, claim heritage as daughters must. From oath to journey, the Torah sings a faith of law of sacred springs. Through wilderness to land's embrace, God's guiding hands direct the race. Matos Masei, a tale divine, of word, of path, of destined line. So listen, thank you so much for doing this, Rabbi, for taking the time. I'm so excited that you're there and that we're doing Parsha and Prose together. I'm so excited by that.
I'm excited too, and it's really very unique that we can today. You know, you are sitting in Toronto. I'm sitting here in Elad, which is not far away from Petah Tikva, and we can talk like in Toronto. We schmooze like in
Yeah.
outside the show. It's beautiful, and I'm very happy that we can like do it constantly and bring some light of Torah to people in Israel, outside.
Amen. And we all wish you and your family, Rabbi, well, and that you know your parents should be well, and that you should just the rest of your trip should be wonderful. Yisrael Chai, be proud to be a Jew, and Nesiat Tova, a safe trip to
Thank you very
Jerusalem.
much. I just want to recommend if someone of our listeners this morning, I was in a magnificent place in Rishon LeZion. It's called Museon Agam. You heard about the artist Agam? You are a painter. You okay? Please go to the internet and find about Yaakov Agam. He's like an
Oh,
international.
Yaakov Agam. Yeah. Sure,
Yeah,
yeah, of
of
course.
course. I'm sure you heard about him. And they opened a museum. Avrum, I was stunned by the beauty of. First of all, they covered all his life, which are very, very interesting. His father was a rabbi of Rishon LeZion. He had 11 siblings. And the guy became an unbelievable artist. And I think his art is going to be recognized for generations to come, because I think he was a bulldozer of a new understanding of painting. And you compare Kandinsky, for example, where you see colors and moving, to the works of Agam. I think that Agam was better than Kandinsky. And they have this museum, beautiful in Rishon LeZion, and I highly recommend everyone who is planning going to Israel in the next time, put this place on your map. You are not going to regret it. I can promise you that.
I tell you something, you always move me with your comparisons. You've told me many times that Shai Agnon was a greater writer than Shakespeare. And I've quoted you on that, and people go like this. They go, maybe. But I trust you. I do trust you in your opinions. Anyways, I wish you well. Zygazin to you and your family. And thank you again for doing this. To all of our listeners, to all of our viewers, Yisrael Chai, be proud to be a Jew. Study Torah, man. It's the thing we got. And it is beautiful. It's our blueprint to truth. So until we meet again, thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to doing this again. Rabbi, concluding words?
As you said, Am Yisrael Chai. You have to see it here in Israel, because I know how much we care about the matzav, the situation in Israel, and I think that we have to see also the resilience, the asset of the Jewish people, turning a crisis to a source of power. This is something unique to us. This is something unique to us. And I have to tell you, like, I was in Modi'in this Shabbat. Okay, this is important for everyone in the diaspora to hear. Erev Shabbat, they have Shabbat Mukdemet, like early Shabbos, because, you have many children for every family, and you cannot start Shabbos at 8 o'clock. Now Shabbat enters very late. So they start Shabbat at 6 o'clock. Avrum, we had a minyan of 12 people. They bring their kids to the minyan. I can tell you, these 12 people have more little children than my shul in Toronto. And it's beautiful, honestly. Like, we have a shul of like 40, 50 people. And like the place, like you see the kids are running around. I had a beautiful experience this Shabbat. I was in Modi'in. I have a very good friend who made Aliyah, Mr. Grozhinsky. Everyone who ate in his bakery knows Daniel Grozhinsky and his lovely wife, Rona. And as I go to Shul, they ate by us like 2 Shabbatot ago, just before they left to Israel. And I go to Shul. Who is next to me? Daniel Grozhinsky, sitting there, and he like shaped nachas from seeing all the kids running around. It's just something, that really Am Yisrael Chai. It's not just a cliche. Am Yisrael really Chai.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rabbi Zeigezint. All right, folks. Again, thank you for listening, and we'll see you again, God willing, next week.